They left me standing alone at the airport gate, laughing as they boarded with their first-class upgrades. 3 hours later, Mom called, furious that their cards were all declined at the resort. I just smiled and said, "Funny how family works, isn't it?" "Hi, I'm Lauren. 32, certified public accountant with an MBA in finance. And until 6 weeks ago, the invisible middle child in a family that only remembered I existed when they needed something fixed." The morning after I won, I sat alone in my kitchen staring at the ticket, my hands shaking. $47 million after taxes. The numbers glowed on my laptop screen, confirming what felt impossible. I hadn't told anyone yet, not a soul. I needed time to process, to plan. I'd always been the responsible one. While my older brother Tyler breezed through life on charm, and my younger sister Melissa coasted on beauty. I built spreadsheets and investment portfolios. Mom called me her practical one, never her successful one or brilliant one, just practical. Like I was a sensible pair of shoes you keep in the closet for rainy days. My phone buzzed. "Mom, again, 3rd time this morning." "Lauren, why aren't you answering?" "I've been calling you." "Sorry, I was busy." I clutched the ticket tighter, wondering if she somehow knew already. "Well, I need you to look at my tax forms. The IRS sent another letter, and your father was always the one who handled these things before he passed. Dad had died 18 months ago. Heart attack. He was the only one who really saw me, who believed in me, who didn't make me feel like I was only valuable for what I could do for others." "I'll come by tomorrow," I said, already mentally calculating how much time I'd need to secure the ticket and speak with financial advisors. "No, today. Tyler and Melissa are coming for dinner. We haven't had the whole family together in months. Family dinner. The perfect opportunity to share my news. I should be excited to tell them, right? To see their faces when they realized quiet, predictable Lauren had won the lottery, but something held me back. "I'll be there at 6, I said finally. I spent the day making calls from my car, parked behind a grocery store where no one would overhear me. I spoke with 3 different financial advisors and a lawyer who specialized in sudden wealth. Their advice was unanimous. Tell no one until everything was secured and structured. Wait at least a month before making any announcements. But these were my family. They would be happy for me, wouldn't they? I arrived at Mom's house at 6:05 p.m. The familiar, split-level suburban home where I grew up looked exactly the same, down to the slightly crooked mailbox I'd accidentally backed into when learning to drive. Tyler's BMW was already in the driveway alongside Melissa's new Audi that I knew she couldn't actually afford. My 10-year-old Honda Civic looked embarrassingly out of place between them, as always. "Finally," Mom said when I walked in. No hug, no how are you, just exasperation that I wasn't precisely on time. "Sorry, traffic was. Your sister's been here for an hour already helping me with dinner." And Tyler brought wine. Of course he did. Tyler, with his sales director position and expense account, always brought the wine. Melissa, with her Instagram perfect life as a lifestyle consultant, whatever that meant, always helped in ways that looked good but required minimal effort. And I was always late, even when I wasn't. I brought dessert, I offered, holding up a bakery box. "Oh, we already have Tyler's girlfriend's cupcakes," Mom said dismissively. "But I'm sure we can find room for yours too." I set my store-bought cheesecake on the counter next to Amber's artisanal cupcakes, each one decorated with an intricate flower. Even my dessert was inadequate. "Lauren," Melissa swooped in for an air kiss, her designer perfume enveloping me. "Love the ... shirt. Is it new?" It wasn't. She knew it wasn't. "Hey, number cruncher." Tyler appeared, wine glass already half empty in his hand. "Mom says you've got to save her from the big bad IRS again." "Just some tax questions," I said. "Thank God you're good at something, right?" He laughed, clapping me on the shoulder a little too hard. Dinner was predictable. Tyler dominated conversation with stories about his recent sales triumph. Melissa showed photos from her latest sponsored hotel stay. Mom beamed at them both. I answered questions about their tax situations and financial strategies. The usual family dynamic, as comfortable and uncomfortable as an old sweater with scratchy tags. Then, halfway through dinner, Tyler's girlfriend Amber said the words that changed everything. "Did you guys hear about that Powerball winner? They sold the ticket right here in town. 47 million after taxes. Can you imagine?" My fork froze halfway to my mouth. How did she know the exact amount after taxes? Had the news already released that detail? Probably some old retiree, Tyler said, refilling his wine. They're the only ones dumb enough to waste money on lottery tickets. I felt my cheeks flush. I'd only bought the ticket on a whim, stopping for gas on my way home from work. What would you even do with that kind of money? Amber asked the table. Pay off my loans, obviously, Melissa said with an eye roll. I knew she had nearly $90,000 in credit card debt from maintaining her influencer lifestyle. I'd buy Mom a new house, Tyler announced grandly. Something with a pool and a guest house for whenever I visit. Mom patted his hand. Always thinking of others. I remained silent, pushing food around my plate. Lauren would probably just put it all in some boring investment account, Melissa laughed. And continue driving that tragic Civic. Nothing wrong with being responsible, Mom said, but her tone made it clear that responsibility was the consolation prize of personality traits. Actually, I said quietly, I think I'd travel. I've always wanted to see the world. They all looked at me with surprise, as if I'd suddenly spoken in a foreign language. You? Travel? Tyler snorted. You get anxious ordering at a drive-thru. I do not remember when we went to Disney and she wouldn't even go on Space Mountain. Melissa jumped in. Such a scaredy cat. I was 12 when that happened. Apparently in my family, your personality was set in stone before puberty. Well, I've changed, I said. People don't really change, Mom said dismissively. Tyler's always been my adventurer. Melissa's my social butterfly, and you're my practical one. I know. The conversation moved on. The lottery winner forgotten. My hypothetical dreams dismissed. By the time I'd finished helping Mom with the dishes while Tyler and Melissa relaxed in the living room, I'd made my decision. I wouldn't tell them. Not yet. I drove home that night with the winning ticket safely in my wallet, a strange calm settling over me. For the first time in my life, I had something that was entirely mine. Something that would change everything. Over the next 2 weeks, I followed the expert's advice meticulously. I signed the ticket, made a copy, and locked the original in a safe deposit box. I created a trust to claim the winnings. I met with wealth management advisors, tax specialists, and estate planners. I did everything right, everything practical, just as everyone expected of me. And I told no one. I went to work in my accounting firm as usual. I took Mom to her doctor's appointment. I helped Melissa create a budget she would never follow. I listened to Tyler brag about his new promotion. Life continued as normal, except for the growing secret inside me. Then came the family dinner that changed everything. It was Mom's 65th birthday. We gathered at her favorite Italian restaurant, the one we only went to for special occasions because it was too expensive for regular dinners. I'd made a reservation for 5, Mom, my siblings, Amber, and me. I can't believe my baby is 39, Mom said to Melissa, who was actually 30, patting her hand. Mom, I just turned 30, Melissa corrected. Well, you look 25, Mom beamed, then turned to me. Lauren, you've got a little something ... single quotes. She gestured vaguely at my face. I wiped up my mouth with my napkin, though I knew there was nothing there. Just Mom's habitual need to fix me in some way. So, Tyler said, leaning forward with uncharacteristic seriousness after we'd ordered. Mom has an announcement. Mom smiled, a girlish excitement in her eyes I hadn't seen in years. I've been thinking about what I want for this new chapter of my life, now that I'm officially a senior citizen. You don't look a day over 50, Amber supplied right on cue. Thank you, dear. Anyway, I've decided that what I really want is to take a family vacation. All of us together making memories. That sounds wonderful, I said sincerely. We hadn't traveled as a family since before Dad died. I was thinking Hawaii, Mom continued, her eyes shining. 2 weeks in Maui, the Wailea Beach Resort. I nearly choked on my water. The Wailea was one of the most expensive resorts on the island. A 2-week stay for 5 people would cost a fortune. Mom, that's really expensive, I said carefully. Well, she said, looking down at her menu with a small smile, that's where your father always promised to take me for my 65th. We were saving for it when he passed. The table fell silent. Dad's death was still a raw spot for all of us. It's a wonderful idea, Tyler finally said. We should do it. Absolutely, Melissa agreed. I have over 100,000 Instagram followers now. I could probably get us some hotel discounts if I post about it, but how would we pay for it? I asked, always the practical one. That's going to be at least $30,000, probably more. They all exchanged glances. That's when I knew. Somehow, they knew. Lauren, Mom said slowly, we know about the Powerball. My blood ran cold. What? The lottery ticket, Tyler clarified, leaning forward. We know you won. How? I whispered. Kevin from your office told my friend Diane, who told me, Melissa said triumphantly. Apparently you've been having all these meetings with wealth managers. The whole town is buzzing about it. Kevin, my coworker. I'd trusted him when I'd needed someone to cover my clients during my appointments. Stupid mistake. Were you ever going to tell us? Mom asked, hurt evident in her voice. I felt cornered, exposed. I was waiting for the right time. The advisors suggested advisors? Tyler interrupted. You got advisors but didn't think to tell your own family? It's been less than 3 weeks, I defended. I needed time to process everything. Well, now we can process it together, Mom said, reaching for my hand across the table. As a family. And what better way than a Hawaiian vacation? Your father would have wanted this. And there it was. The dad card. The ultimate emotional manipulation. This trip would mean so much to all of us, Melissa added. After everything we've been through. What exactly had they been through? Dad's death had been hardest on Mom and me. I was the one who handled the funeral arrangements, the estate paperwork, the insurance claims. I was the one who visited Mom weekly, while Tyler was too busy and Melissa was too emotional. I haven't even received the money yet, I said, which was technically true. The trust was established, but the funds were still being transferred. But you will, Tyler said. And this would be, what? A tiny fraction of 47 million? They'd spent the whole evening discussing this before I arrived, I realized, planning how to approach me, deciding what they deserved from my windfall. I'll think about it, I said finally. What's to think about, Mom pressed. It's a family vacation. We've never asked you for anything, Lauren, except tax help, and budget planning, and emergency loans that were never repaid, and emotional support, and endless practical advice they never followed. I said I'll think about it, I repeated, more firmly this time. The rest of dinner was tense. When the check came, Tyler made a show of reaching for it, then pausing. I guess Lauren should get this one, he said with a wink. Practice for bigger expenses. The next morning, I woke to 37 text messages in our family group chat. They'd created a detailed Hawaii itinerary. Beachfront suites, helicopter tours, private snorkeling excursions, sunset cruises, shopping budgets, the works. The estimated total at the bottom of Mom's spreadsheet, a spreadsheet. From my mother, who once asked me if Excel was that new reality TV show, $63,750. My phone rang. Mom, did you see what we put together? She asked without preamble. Tyler found a package deal that includes first-class airfare. Mom, this is way too expensive, I said. And I told you I haven't even received, but you will, she insisted. And we need to book soon before prices go up. Summer is peak season in Hawaii. I need time to think. What's there to think about? It's family. That phrase again. It's family. As if those two words negated any need for boundaries, respect, or consideration. I'll let you know by the end of the week, I said, ending the call before she could argue further. But they didn't wait for the end of the week. That evening I received an email from Tyler. He'd gone ahead and placed a 24-hour hold on the resort reservations using his credit card. Just so we don't lose the rooms, his message read. You can reimburse me tomorrow. $12,000 deposit due. I stared at my phone in disbelief. The audacity. The entitlement. The complete disregard for my feelings or agency. And that's when a clarity I'd never experienced before washed over me. For my entire life, I'd been the family fixer. The reliable one. The practical one. The one who could be counted on to do what was needed, expected, demanded. Never the one whose wishes or feelings were considered. But now, for the first time ever, I had power. Real power. The kind that couldn't be dismissed or overlooked or taken for granted. I called Tyler. Hey, moneybags, he answered. Got my email? Cancel the reservation, I said calmly. What? Why? Because I didn't agree to it. Come on, Lauren, don't be difficult. It's just a deposit. A $12,000 deposit I didn't authorize. It's nothing to you now. Literally a rounding error, cancel it or I won't reimburse you. Silence on the other end. Then are you serious right now? This is for Mom, for the family, and I'm not part of that family when it comes to being consulted about decisions, apparently. You're being ridiculous. We're trying to plan a nice trip. No, you're trying to spend my money without my input. There's a difference. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from anxiety. From something that felt surprisingly like ... power. 10 minutes later, the family group chat exploded. Tyler was outraged. Melissa called me selfish. Mom expressed deep disappointment. I turned off my notifications and poured myself a glass of wine. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't rushing to fix the family crisis. I wasn't apologizing. I wasn't capitulating, and it felt incredible. The next morning, I called Mom. "I've thought about the Hawaii trip," I said when she answered coldly. "And?" she asked, her voice tight. "I'm willing to take everyone to Hawaii." Her tone immediately changed. "Oh, Lauren, I knew you'd come around. Let me get Tyler on the phone," but I interrupted. "I have conditions." "Conditions?" Her voice cooled again. "Yes, I'll plan the trip. I'll book the flights and hotels. I'll pay for reasonable accommodations and activities. Not first class, not beachfront suites, but nice. And I'll do it when I'm ready, which will be after I've received and properly managed the funds. Probably in about 3 months. But we wanted to go in July. This is my offer, Mom. Take it or leave it." Another silence. "Then let me discuss it with your siblings." An hour later, Tyler called. "We've decided to accept your offer," he said magnanimously, as if they were doing me a favor. "Good," I said. "I'll start planning once everything is finalized with my accounts. But," he added, "we really do want to go in July. Amber has her work schedule already arranged." I almost laughed. "Then Amber might not be able to join us." "I won't rush my financial planning for vacation dates." "Fine," he conceded after a pause. "Just don't make us wait too long, and we really do want to stay at the Wolia. It's the best. I'll consider it," I said noncommittally. Over the next 2 months, I carefully managed my windfall with the help of my professional team. I established trusts, made investments, set up charitable giving plans, and created a comprehensive financial strategy. I continued working at my accounting job while I figured out my next steps. And I began planning the family trip, though not exactly as they envisioned it. I booked a beautiful vacation rental in Maui, large enough for all of us, but not ostentatious. A reserved economy plus airfare, comfortable but not extravagant. I researched activities that would create genuine family memories without excessive price tags. I did everything a loving, generous, but boundary-respecting lottery winner would do. And all the while, the demands continued. Melissa needed a small loan of $50,000 to clear her debts before the trip. Tyler's car was embarrassingly outdated for someone whose sister was a multi-millionaire. Mom's house suddenly required extensive renovations for safety reasons. I deflected them all with the same response. "We'll discuss my financial plans for the family after our Hawaii trip." The message was clear. Behave yourselves on this vacation, and maybe, just maybe, there would be more generosity afterward. Finally, the day of departure arrived. July 5th, 10th. I'd compromised on the date but held firm on everything else. We were flying out of Denver International, meeting at the United Airlines terminal at 10 a.m. for a 12:30 p.m. flight. I arrived at precisely 9:55 a.m., rolling my sensible carry-on behind me. They were already there, huddled together near the check-in counters, surrounded by enough luggage for a month-long stay. Finally, Melissa said when she spotted me, "We've been waiting forever." It was 10:01 a.m. "Good morning to you too," I said, plastering on a smile. "Everyone ready?" Tyler stepped forward. "We need to talk about the seating arrangements." "What about them?" I asked, though I already knew what was coming. "We checked online, and you've got us all in economy plus," he said, as if reporting a crime. "Yes, comfortable seats with extra legroom," I confirmed. "The flights are only about 6 hours. But first class was only a few thousand more per person," Mom chimed in. "We thought, given your circumstances, you might want to treat the family to the full luxury experience." My circumstances, as if winning the lottery was a medical condition. "The tickets I purchased are perfectly nice," I said firmly. "If you want to upgrade, you're welcome to pay the difference yourselves." They exchanged glances. "Lauren," Melissa said, using her Instagram influencer voice, the one she thought was persuasive, "don't be like this. It's our special family trip. And I've spent over $20,000 on it already," I replied evenly. I think that's pretty special. But what's the point of having all that money if you can't enjoy it? Tyler argued. First class would make the trip so much better for everyone. I looked at my watch. We should check in. Our time slot is open. We're not done discussing this, Mom said, but she followed me to the check-in kiosk. The attendant was cheerful as she processed our boarding passes and checked their excessive luggage, which incurred extra fees I silently paid. I've got you all in Economy Plus, row 14, seats A through E, she said brightly. Would anyone like to purchase an upgrade to first class today? We have 3 seats available. Tyler's eyes lit up. He turned to me expectantly. No, thank you, I said to the attendant. We're fine with our current seats. Actually, Tyler cut in, we'd like to discuss those upgrades. How much would they be? The attendant quoted a price that made even Tyler wince. My sister will be covering that, he said, nodding toward me. The attendant looked at me questioningly. No, I won't, I said clearly. We're keeping our current seats. Lauren, Melissa hissed. If you want first class, you're welcome to pay for it yourselves, I repeated. With what money? Tyler scoffed too loudly. You're the one with $47 million. Several heads turned our way. The attendant's eyes widened. Sir, please keep your voice down, she said professionally. Are you staying with Economy Plus, or would you like to purchase upgrades? An uncomfortable silence fell over our group. Economy Plus is fine, I said after no one else spoke. Thank you. We moved through security in tense silence. My siblings and mother walking ahead of me, whispering among themselves. By the time we reached our gate, they'd formulated a new plan. We've been thinking, Mom said as we found seats in the waiting area. Since you won't upgrade the flights, the least you could do is increase our spending money for the trip. I've already planned and prepaid for most activities, I replied. Yes, but what about shopping? Dining? Spontaneous excursions? Melissa pressed. I've provided a very generous allowance, I said, referring to the $2,000 per person I'd given them in prepaid Visa cards. $2,000 for 2 weeks in Hawaii is nothing, Tyler scoffed. Especially with Hawaii's prices. It's more than adequate for incidentals, I countered. All major expenses are covered. But we want to really experience Hawaii, Melissa winned. You're ruining the trip before it even starts. I took a deep breath. I've spent over $20,000 on this vacation. If that's ruining it. Perhaps we have different definitions of the word. It's not about the amount, Mom said, though of course it was. It's about your attitude. You've been so ... different since you won that money. So cold. So calculating. I almost laughed. I'd been called calculating my entire life, when it benefited them. When I fixed their tax problems or created budgets they ignored or managed Dad's estate. But now that I was calculating what I wanted, what I deserved, it was suddenly a character flaw. First boarding call for flight UA142 to Maui, the gate attendant announced. First class passengers and those needing special assistance may begin boarding. Tyler stood abruptly. Last chance, Lauren. Either upgrade us to first class or increase our spending money. Significantly, I remained seated. No. Fine, he said, grabbing his carry-on. Mom, Melissa, let's go. Go where? I asked, confused. They haven't called our group yet. To the counter, he said. To upgrade ourselves. With what money? I echoed his earlier question. He smiled coldly. With the emergency credit card Dad gave me before he died. The one with your name on it as the guarantor. My blood froze. Dad had indeed set up an emergency card for the family shortly before his death, with me as the financially responsible one listed as guarantor. I'd forgotten all about it, assuming it had been closed after his estate was settled. That card should have been canceled, I said, standing now. But it wasn't, Tyler replied smugly. And it has a $50,000 limit. More than enough for 3 first-class upgrades. You can't do that, I said, but they were already walking away, Mom and Melissa flanking Tyler like co-conspirators. I watched, stunned, as they approached the counter. The gate attendant listened, checked something on her computer, and nodded. Tyler handed over the credit card, my father's card, with my financial responsibility attached to it. A few minutes later, they returned, triumphant. All set, Tyler announced, waving 3 new boarding passes. We're now in first class, seats 2A, 2B, and 2C. You had no right, I said, my voice shaking with anger. Oh, save the dramatics, Melissa dismissed. It's a drop in the bucket for you now. You can either join us in first class, Mom added, or sit by yourself in economy. Your choice. The gate attendant called for first class boarding again. Tyler, Melissa, and Mom stood, gathering their belongings. Coming? Tyler asked mockingly. I remained seated. No, suit yourself, he shrugged. Enjoy the commoners section. I watched as they walked to the boarding gate, showed their passes, and disappeared down the jetway without a backward glance. They hadn't even asked if I wanted to use the remaining credit card balance to upgrade my own seat. Not that I would have, but the lack of even a token offer spoke volumes. As I sat there alone, waiting for my boarding group to be called, a strange calm settled over me. The same feeling I'd had the night I decided not to tell them about the lottery. A clarity. A certainty. A recognition of who they truly were and who I truly was. I pulled out my phone and made 3 quick calls. The first to my credit card company. The second to my lawyer. The third to my travel agent. By the time my boarding group was called, everything was arranged. I approached the gate, showed my pass, and walked down the jetway. But I didn't board the plane. Instead, I turned around and walked back into the terminal, past the security checkpoint, out to ground transportation, into a waiting Uber. 3 hours later, as I sat in the lounge of a different airport waiting for a different flight, my phone rang. Mom's number. I answered with a smile. Hello? Lauren. Her voice was tight with fury. Where are you? The plane landed an hour ago and you're not here. We've been waiting at baggage claim. Oh, I said casually, I'm not in Hawaii. What do you mean you're not in Hawaii? We all got on the same plane. No, actually we didn't. You 3 got on the plane to Maui, I never boarded. Silence. Then, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't you get on the plane? I decided I didn't want to vacation with people who would use my dead father's credit card to financially obligate me without my consent. Another silence, longer this time. I could hear Tyler's voice in the background, demanding to know what was happening. This isn't funny, Lauren, Mom finally said. We're at the Grand Wailea Resort and they have no record of our reservation. That's because I canceled it after you boarded. Just like I canceled the credit card you fraudulently used. You what? She shrieked. I canceled everything, I said calmly. The hotel, the rental car, the activities, everything. You can't do that. Tyler had grabbed the phone. We're standing here with no hotel, no car, and no way to pay for anything. My card was just declined at the taxi stand. How unfortunate, I replied, surprising myself with how steady my voice was. Sounds like a real emergency. Too bad that emergency credit card doesn't work anymore. Lauren, this is insane, he sputtered. You've stranded us in Hawaii with nothing? Not nothing, I corrected. You each have $2,000 on those prepaid Visa cards I gave you. That should be enough for a flight home and a night in a modest hotel. If you're careful, you expect us to stay in a modest hotel? Melissa had the phone now, horror in her voice as if I'd suggested they sleep in a dumpster. I don't expect anything from you anymore, I said truthfully. That's the point. For once, my expectations don't matter. My actions do. Where are you? Mom demanded, back on the phone. We need to talk about this like adults. I looked up at the departure board. I'm about to board a flight to Italy. I've decided to do some solo traveling. You know, see the world like I always wanted to. Italy? She repeated incredulously. While we're stranded in Hawaii? You're not stranded, I said patiently. You have resources to get home. Limited resources, yes, but that's what happens when you make poor financial decisions. Lauren, this is your mother speaking. You will fix this right now. You will reinstate that hotel reservation and book us flights home in first class, or I swear to God, or what? I interrupted, genuinely curious. What leverage do you have exactly? You've already tried to use Dad's memory, my financial responsibility, and family obligation. None of it worked. What's left? The line went silent. That's what I thought, I said. Goodbye, Mom. Give my love to Tyler and Melissa. Enjoy Hawaii. I hear the public beaches are actually nicer than the resort ones. I hung up as my flight was called for boarding. First class passengers first. As I settled into my spacious seat 1A, phone turned off and a glass of champagne in my hand, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in years. Maybe ever. For my entire life, I'd been the practical one. The responsible one. The one they could count on to fix everything. To put others first. to be sensible, predictable, reliable, Lauren. But as it turned out, sometimes the most practical thing you can do is the most unexpected. My phone buzzed in the car on the way to the hotel. I need to talk to you. Now. I ignored the text from my mother, and the 17th that followed, and the voicemails, and the emails. For the next week, I wandered through Italy in peaceful solitude. Venice's winding canals, Florence's Renaissance masterpieces, the rolling hills of Tuscany. I stayed in beautiful boutique hotels, ate at Michelin-starred restaurants, and bought myself a ridiculously expensive handbag that Melissa would have killed for. For the first time in my life, I wasn't budgeting, calculating, or worrying about financial responsibility. Meanwhile, my phone continued to explode with family drama unfolding 8,000 miles away. From the increasingly desperate messages, I pieced together their Hawaiian adventure. They'd managed to book a hotel with their prepaid Visa cards, but it was a budget option in Kihei, not the luxury resort they'd expected. Tyler had called his boss begging for an advance on his commission. Melissa had frantically reached out to her Instagram contacts trying to score free accommodations in exchange for exposure. Mom had actually called my firm asking if they could contact me about an urgent family emergency. When I finally answered a call on my 4th day in Italy, Mom burst into tears. "How could you do this to us?" she sobbed. "Your own family." I sipped my espresso at a cafe overlooking the Arno River. "I didn't do anything to you. You tried to commit credit card fraud using my name. I protected myself. It wasn't fraud. It was an emergency fund Dad set up. For actual emergencies. Not for first-class upgrades when perfectly good seats were already paid for. We've had to share a single hotel room with 2 double beds. Melissa is sleeping on a rollaway cot. The horror." I took another sip. "How unfortunate. Lauren, we need money. Real money. The cards you gave us barely covered 3 nights at this motel. We still have 10 days left." "Actually, you have options," I said reasonably. "You can fly home now using the remaining balance on your cards. Or you can stay and make do with more modest accommodations than you planned. That's called living within your means. I've been telling you all about it for years." "You're punishing us," she accused. "No, Mom. I'm just not rescuing you. There's a difference. We're family," she said, playing the ultimate card again. "Yes, and families shouldn't try to exploit each other." I paused. "When Dad died, who handled all the funeral arrangements?" The question caught her off guard. "What?" "You did, of course. And who spent weeks sorting through his papers, filing insurance claims, dealing with the estate taxes? You did. You know that. And who's been helping you with your finances every month since then? Who set up your retirement accounts? Who got Tyler out of tax trouble last year? Who loaned Melissa money for rent 3 times? Silence on the other end. That's what family means to me. Mom, support, respect, reciprocity, not entitlement. You've changed, she said quietly. No, I've finally recognized my worth. After another moment of silence, her tone shifted. Lauren, honey, I understand you're upset. We didn't handle things well at the airport. We were just excited about the trip. Here it came. The pivot from accusation to manipulation. We're sorry, she continued, her voice softening. Truly, we got carried away. But please don't ruin the whole vacation over one mistake. We've learned our lesson. I doubted that very much. If you really want to make amends, I said carefully, fly home. Use the remaining balance on your cards to book economy flights back to Denver. When you get there, we can talk about rebuilding trust. Fly home? Without having our Hawaiian vacation? After we've come all this way? Those are my terms. But that's not fair. And just like that, the conciliatory tone vanished. Life often isn't. As I've recently discovered, I ended the call and turned off my phone again. The next morning, I flew to Rome. 3 days later, I checked my email in my hotel near the Spanish Steps. Among the desperate messages from my family was a notification from my bank. Someone had tried to use my emergency credit card again, this time for 3 one-way tickets from Maui to Denver. The charge had been declined. I laughed out loud, startling a couple at the next table. They really were incredible in my family. Even after everything, they still thought they could access my money without consequences. That evening, I received a different kind of message. A text from my cousin Rachel, Mom's niece who lived in California. Hey Lauren, weird question, but is Aunt Kathy supposed to be staying with me? She just called asking if she and your siblings could crash at my place for a few days. Something about being stranded coming back from Hawaii? I stared at my phone in disbelief. They'd somehow scraped together enough for flights to California, but not all the way to Denver? And rather than booking a cheap airport hotel, they were couch surfing. They're not stranded, I texted back. They chose to spend their money on first-class seats instead of planning for the entire trip. Not your problem to solve, Rachel replied almost immediately. Oh my God, she made it sound like there was some horrible mix-up with the reservations. Said you were meeting them here to sort it out. Of course she did. I'm in Italy, I wrote. Enjoying a solo vacation? What? She said you were flying in tomorrow to fix the mess. Nope. Been in Italy all week. Heading to Greece next. Rachel sent back a series of shocked emojis, followed by, what should I tell her? The truth. That I'm not coming to rescue them. That I'm not in California. That they need to figure this out themselves. Wow. Okay, this is awkward, but ... Good for you? They've always taken advantage. Uncle Robert was the only one who ever called them out on it. Single quotes dad. My chest tightened. Thanks, Rachel. Enjoy Italy. Send pics. I won't tell them where you really are. The next morning, I woke to missed calls from unknown. California numbers, likely my family using Rachel's phone or borrowing phones from strangers. I ignored them all and boarded my flight to Santorini. Greece was even more magical than Italy. I spent my days exploring whitewashed villages perched on cliffs, swimming in the crystal-clear Aegean, and eating fresh seafood at tiny tavernas. I took a sailing lesson. I went scuba diving. I watched sunsets that made me cry with their beauty. Did everything that practical Lauren would never have done. 1 week into my Greek adventure, a notification popped up on my phone that made me pause, mid-sip of my ouzo. A new post on Tyler's rarely used Facebook page. Family emergency, my sister Lauren. Anderson has gone missing during our family vacation in Hawaii. Last seen at Denver International Airport on July 15th. If anyone has information about her whereabouts, please contact me immediately. Below was my professional headshot from my accounting firm's website. I nearly choked. They were reporting me missing? After all the texts and calls they'd received from me? After I'd explicitly told them I was in Europe? I quickly checked Melissa's Instagram. Sure enough, her latest post showed her looking tearfully into the camera with the caption, "Hardest week of my life. My sister has disappeared during our family trip. Authorities haven't been helpful. We're desperate for any information. Please share. Hashtag find Lauren, hashtag missing person, #pray. For my family, it had over 3,000 likes already." I called Tyler immediately, fury overriding my desire to keep ignoring them. He answered on the first ring. Lauren? Oh, thank God, we've been so worried. No, you haven't, I said coldly. You know exactly where I am. I've been responding to texts and calls for 2 weeks. Take down those posts immediately. Posts? What posts? Cut the crap, Tyler. The missing person announcements on social media. Take them down now or I'll contact the platforms directly and report them as harassment. A pause. We were just worried about you. No, you were trying to publicly shame me into coming back and bailing you out. It won't work. Mom's really upset, Lauren. She had to go to the ER yesterday for her blood pressure. Another manipulation tactic. If that's true, then stressing her out with fake missing person dramatics is pretty cruel of you. We're out of money, he finally admitted. We had to leave the hotel. We're staying at Rachel's apartment until we can figure something out. Poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine. Jesus, Lauren. When did you get so cold? When did you get so entitled to my money? I shot back. After a long pause, his voice softened. Look, we messed up. We know that. But we've learned our lesson. We really have. Just ... Help us get home, economy flights, the cheapest options. We'll pay you back, I laughed. Like you paid back the $3,000 I loaned you last Christmas? Or the $1,200 for your car repair in March? That's different. I was going to... Save it, I interrupted. I'll tell you what. I'll book you 3 economy flights from Los Angeles to Denver. One way, no extras. No changes. Take it or leave it. Thank you, he said, relief evident in his voice. That's all we're asking for, on one condition. Anything. You and Melissa take down those missing person posts right now while I'm on the phone. And you post retractions explaining that it was a misunderstanding and I'm perfectly fine. Done, he agreed quickly. I stayed on the line while I heard him typing, then the distinctive sound of Melissa complaining in the background. "Okay, they're deleted," he eventually said. "And I've posted a clarification. Melissa's doing the same." "Good. Send me a screenshot of the retraction post and I'll book the flights." He did, and I booked 3 basic economy tickets for the following afternoon. The total came to less than $900, a fraction of what they'd spent on their first-class upgrades to Hawaii. The confirmation emails had been sent, I told him. "Don't miss the flight. I won't book another." "We won't," he promised. Then, hesitantly, "When are you coming home?" "When my trip is over." "And when will that be?" I smiled, looking out at the Aegean Sea from my hotel balcony. "When I'm ready." I hung up and blocked all 3 of their numbers. They had their flights home. They didn't need anything else from me. For the next 2 weeks, I island hopped through Greece, then flew to Spain, followed by a quick visit to southern France. I extended my vacation twice. I took cooking classes, went horseback riding, toured wineries, and spent one glorious day learning to sail a small boat off the coast of Barcelona. Meanwhile, my financial team kept me updated on my investments and the trust structures we'd established. Everything was proceeding smoothly. My firm had granted me an extended leave of absence. My condo was secure with a neighbor checking in regularly. The only loose end was my family. Through Rachel and a few other relatives, I learned they'd made it back to Denver. Mom had moved in with Tyler temporarily because she claimed to be too traumatized to stay alone. Melissa was flooding her Instagram with cryptic posts about betrayal and the true meaning of family. They'd apparently told everyone who would listen a wildly distorted version of what had happened in Hawaii. But for once in my life, I didn't care about cleaning up their mess. On my final night in Europe, sipping champagne in a rooftop bar in Paris with the Eiffel Tower glittering in the distance, I received an email from my attorney. He'd completed the documentation for my new estate plan, one that specifically excluded Tyler, Melissa, and my mother from any inheritance or control. Instead, I'd established substantial charitable foundations focused on financial literacy and support for caregivers, the invisible people like me who spent their lives fixing others' problems. Dad would have approved. As I signed the digital documents and sent them back, I felt the last weight lift from my shoulders. For 6 wonderful weeks, I'd been free from my family's demands and drama. I'd discovered who I was without their expectations and manipulations. I'd found strength I never knew I possessed. Tomorrow, I would fly home to Denver. Not to resume my old life, but to begin a new one. One where I was no longer just the practical one, the reliable one, the family fixer. I was simply Lauren. Powerball winner, world traveler, woman in charge of her own destiny. And I had a plan for what would happen when I landed. One that my family would never see coming. When my plane touched down in Denver, I felt different. 6 weeks in Europe had changed me, not just my tan or my wardrobe, though both had definitely improved. I'd changed fundamentally. The old Lauren would have been anxious about confronting her family. The new Lauren was actually looking forward to it. I'd booked a room at the Four Seasons downtown instead of going straight to my condo. I wanted one more night of luxury before diving back into real life. Plus, I suspected my family might be staking out my home. After checking in, I opened my laptop and began implementing the plan I'd crafted over the Atlantic. First, I emailed my financial advisor confirming our meeting for the following morning. Then I contacted a real estate agent about listing my condo and scheduling viewings of some properties I'd been eyeing online. Finally, I called my boss at the accounting firm. "Lauren, welcome back. How was your sabbatical?" He sounded genuinely pleased to hear from me. "Life-changing," I replied honestly. "Which is actually why I'm calling. I'd like to transition to part-time consulting, rather than returning to full-time status." "Ah," he said, understanding immediately. The Powerball effect. News of my win had obviously made the rounds at the office. Something like that. "Well, we'd love to keep you in whatever capacity works for you. You're one of our best. And frankly, having a multimillionaire consultant is good for our image. We worked out the details. I'd take on select clients, work remotely when possible, and mentor some junior staff." Exactly the arrangement I wanted. After hanging up, I ordered room service, took a luxurious bath, and fell asleep watching the city lights from my window. I woke to 17 missed calls and 32 texts. They'd figured out I was back. Probably from someone at the airport or the firm. I ignored them all and went to my meeting with the financial advisor. We've finalized the remaining details of my wealth management strategy, including the paperwork for 3 separate trust funds, one that would provide me with income for life, one for charitable causes I believed in, and a third smaller one with very specific conditions attached. That third one was the linchpin of my plan. Around noon, my phone rang again. Tyler, for the 20th time. I decided to answer. Hello? Where the hell have you been? He demanded, skipping any pretense of concern. Traveling, as I told you I would be, for 6 weeks? Without telling anyone where you were, I told Rachel, I told my firm. I wasn't hiding. Mom's been worried sick. She's had 2 more blood pressure episodes. I sighed. I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm back now and I'm fine. We need to talk. All of us, as a family. I agree, I said, surprising him. How about dinner tonight? My treat. He paused, clearly not expecting this response. Yeah, that would be good. Where? Garden Grace. 8 o'clock. I named one of the most expensive steakhouses in Denver. We'll be there, he said quickly before I could change my mind. After another productive meeting with the real estate agent, I went shopping for a new outfit for dinner. Something that screamed successful without trying too hard. I settled on a simple black sheath dress paired with Louboutin heels, my first pair ever, and a subtle diamond pendant I'd bought in Paris. I arrived at the restaurant at 7:55 p.m., calm and collected. The host showed me to the private dining room I'd reserved. Will you be having champagne to start, Miss Anderson? He asked. Yes, please. Dom Perignon, the old Lauren, would have choked at spending $300 on a bottle of champagne. The new Lauren didn't blink. At 8:07 p.m., my family arrived. Mom looked older, more fragile than when I'd left, though I suspected that was at least partly theatrical. Tyler was wearing a suit that still had the store creases in it, probably purchased just for tonight. Melissa was dressed to the nines as usual, though I noticed her designer purse was from last season. Lauren! Mom rushed forward as if to hug me, then stopped awkwardly when I didn't rise from my chair. You look different. European travel agrees with me, I said, gesturing to the seats. Please sit down. They exchanged glances before settling into their chairs. The champagne arrived, and the server poured 4 glasses. To family reunions, I said, raising my glass with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. They all drank a bit too eagerly. So Tyler began after an uncomfortable silence. You wanted to talk? Yes, about the future. Our future? Melissa asked hopefully. In a manner of speaking, the server returned to take our orders. I selected the most expensive steak on the menu. After a moment's hesitation, so did everyone else. Once we were alone again, Mom leaned forward. Lauren, sweetheart, we've been doing a lot of thinking while you were away. About how we treated you, about the airport incident. And, I prompted. And we're sorry, she said, reaching for my hand across the table. I let her take it, but didn't squeeze back. We got caught up in excitement and expectations. We didn't consider your feelings. Tyler nodded vigorously. It was wrong to use Dad's card that way. I take full responsibility, and we should never have posted those missing person things, Melissa added. That was ... an overreaction. They were saying all the right things. Exactly what I would have desperately wanted to hear 6 weeks ago, but I could see the calculation behind their eyes, the forced contrition, the expectation of forgiveness and financial reward. I appreciate that, I said neutrally. They waited for more, but I simply sipped my champagne. So ... single quotes Tyler finally broke the silence. What happens now? I set down my glass carefully. Now we establish some new parameters for our relationship. Parameters? Mom repeated, as if the word tasted strange. Yes, I've had time to think about what I want moving forward. About the role my wealth will play in our family dynamics. They leaned forward eagerly. I've established 3 trust funds, I continued. The first is for my personal needs. The second is for charitable causes, and the third, Tyler prompted when I paused. The third is for family. Their faces lit up like Christmas trees. But it comes with conditions, I added. What kind of conditions? Mom asked cautiously. Independence conditions. The trust will provide significant financial support enough to clear debts, fund education, even provide down payments for homes. But it activates only after each of you has demonstrated financial self-sufficiency for 1 full year. Their smiles faltered. What exactly does self-sufficiency mean? Melissa asked. Living within your actual income. No new debt. No handouts. No emergencies requiring my intervention. For a whole year? Tyler looked appalled. That's right. But what if there's a genuine emergency? Mom asked. Medical issues, or the trust includes provisions for verified medical emergencies, I assured her. I'm not heartless. But those funds would be paid directly to providers, not to you. The server arrived with our appetizers, giving them a moment to process. So we just what? Live normally for a year and then we get trust funds? Melissa clarified once we were alone again. Essentially, yes. And how much are we talking about? Tyler asked bluntly. I smiled. Enough to make it worth your while. But the amounts remain confidential until the conditions are met. Mom set down her fork. This feels like some sort of test, Lauren. It's not a test. It's a boundary. I met her eyes steadily. I love you all. But Hawaii showed me that our relationship has unhealthy patterns. This is my way of breaking those patterns, by dangling money in front of us like a carrot, Tyler scoffed. By creating an incentive for change, I corrected. You're all capable of managing your own lives. You just haven't had to because I've always been there to fix things. And if we refuse these conditions? Mom asked quietly. Then we maintain a relationship without financial entanglement. I'll still be your daughter, Tyler and Melissa's sister. I'll celebrate holidays and birthdays with you. I just won't be your bank. The main courses arrived and we ate in tense silence for several minutes. I think it's reasonable, Melissa finally said, surprising everyone. Lauren's right. We've been treating her like an ATM since she won. Tyler shot her a look that could kill. What? She shrugged. We have. And it's not like we can force her to give us money anyway. This way, at least there's something at the end. Your sister's right. I said to Tyler, this isn't a negotiation. These are the terms. Take them or leave them. He stabbed his steak viciously. Fine, 1 year. But then we want full disclosure of the trust amounts and terms. You'll have it, I promised. Mom had been silent, pushing food around her plate. What about the trip? She asked suddenly. What trip? The family trip. The Hawaii do-over. You promised we'd go as a family. I hadn't promised any such thing. If everyone meets the 1-year condition, we can discuss a family vacation. A reasonable one. She seemed satisfied with that. There's one more thing, I added. I've decided to sell my condo. You're moving? Melissa asked. Yes, I found a house in Cherry Creek, one of Denver's most exclusive neighborhoods. Well, we'll help you move, Tyler offered immediately, clearly trying to get back in my good graces. Thank you, but I've hired professionals. I took a sip of water. And I'd prefer if you didn't drop by unannounced at either property. Call first. Mom looked wounded. We need an appointment to see our own daughter now? Not an appointment. Just basic courtesy. The remainder of dinner was strained but civil. We talked about safe topics, my travels, local news I'd missed, a cousin's upcoming wedding. By dessert, they'd all seemingly accepted the new reality, though I could practically see the calculations running behind their eyes. How difficult would the year be? How much might they receive afterward? Was it worth the effort? As we waited for the check, which I paid without comment, Tyler made one last attempt. So there's really no way to access any funds before the year is up? Even for a good reason? Define good reason, I challenged. Well, I've been thinking about starting my own business, getting out of the corporate rat race. I'd need startup capital, ... single quotes. That sounds like an investment opportunity you could present to traditional lenders, I replied smoothly. But with your backing, I could... After the year is up, you can present your business plan to the trust advisors. I cut him off. If it's viable, they may approve funding. He sulked, but dropped the subject. Outside the restaurant, we said our goodbyes. Mom hugged me tightly, whispering, I just want my daughter back. I never left, I told her. I just grew up. As I watched them drive away, I felt neither triumph nor regret, just resolution. The hard part was over. Or so I thought. The first test came 3 weeks later. Melissa called in tears, claiming her landlord was evicting her because of late rent. I need $3,000 by tomorrow or I'm homeless, she sobbed. What happened to your rent money? I asked calmly. I had to use it for car repairs. My transmission went out. Did you call the trust administrator like I suggested when you first got the notice? Silence. Then, I thought you'd be easier to convince. I'm not the bank anymore, Melissa. The administrator can verify your situation and pay your landlord directly if it's legitimate. Fine, she huffed. I'll call them. She never did. A week later, Rachel told me Melissa had miraculously worked things out with her landlord. Translation: she'd found the money somewhere else or had been lying about the emergency. Tyler was next. His business opportunity apparently couldn't wait for traditional financing. When I held firm, he accused me of tearing the family apart with my new money power trip and didn't speak to me for a month. Mom was the most persistent. Weekly calls about house repairs she couldn't afford. Medical tests not covered by insurance. Even a leaking roof during a heavy rainstorm. Each time I directed her to the trust administrator who could verify the emergency and pay providers directly. Each time the urgency mysteriously evaporated. 4 months into our agreement, I invited them all to my new house for Thanksgiving. I'd hired a professional chef and decorator, transforming my home into an autumn wonderland that would have made Martha Stewart jealous. When they arrived, I watched their faces as they took in the soaring ceilings, the professional kitchen, the pool visible through floor-to-ceiling windows. This is ... Quite a place, Mom said, her voice tight. Thank you. I love it, I replied simply. Throughout dinner, they were on their best behavior. No requests for money, no hints about financial struggles, just family sharing a holiday meal. It was almost normal, or what normal should have been all along. As they were leaving, Melissa lingered behind. I just wanted to say, she began awkwardly, I get it now. Why you did this, do you? She nodded. I got a promotion at work last month. I didn't tell anyone because I wanted to see if I could actually manage on my own for once. She looked down at her hands. It's hard, budgeting, saying no to things I want, but also ... kind of empowering? I smiled genuinely. Exactly, I don't know if I'll make it the whole year without screwing up, she admitted, but I'm trying. Really trying. That's all I wanted, I told her, giving her a real hug for the first time since before Hawaii. As she walked to her car, the same Audi, but now with a plan to pay it off rather than just making minimum payments, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this would work after all. But I knew the hardest tests were still to come. We were only 4 months in, with 8 more to go. And if there's one thing I'd learned from winning the Powerball, it's that money has a way of revealing who people truly are, both the bad and, occasionally, the good. The seasons changed, and so did my family, slowly, sometimes painfully, but undeniably. By month 6, Melissa had fully embraced her financial independence. She'd downsized to a smaller apartment, picked up freelance marketing work to supplement her income, and even started a modest savings account. The designer handbags disappeared from her Instagram, replaced by posts about mindful spending and living authentically. Her followers actually increased. Tyler's transformation was more reluctant. 3 separate emergency calls to the trust administrator in month 5, all denied as non-essential, had left him bitter. But necessity is a powerful motivator. By month 7, he'd abandoned his nebulous business plans and focused on excelling at his actual job. To everyone's surprise, especially his own, he was good at it when he really applied himself. Mom was the hardest case. A lifetime of financial dependence, first on Dad, then on me, had left her genuinely afraid of standing on her own. But with gentle persistence from the trust administrators and some behind-the-scenes financial counseling I quietly arranged, she began to grasp basic money management. She even took a part-time job at a local bookstore, something she'd always wanted to do, but claimed never to have time for. As for me, I settled into my new life with unexpected ease. I consulted part-time at my firm, joined the boards of several nonprofits, and started taking classes just for the joy of learning. I traveled when I wanted, but found I increasingly enjoyed my beautiful home and the peace it represented. The real test came in month 10. Mom called on a Tuesday afternoon, her voice tight with genuine distress. It's Tyler. He's in the hospital. My stomach dropped. What happened? Car accident. It's okay, broken leg, concussion, but his insurance has a high deductible, and he's going to be out of work for at least 6 weeks. This was exactly the kind of legitimate emergency the trust was designed to handle. Tell him to contact the administrator. They'll cover the medical bills directly. He doesn't want to. What? He says he's got savings, that he can handle it himself. Her voice cracked. He's so stubborn. Just like your father. Something warm unfurled in my chest. Let me talk to him. At the hospital, I found Tyler looking pale against the white sheets, his leg elevated and encased in a cast. You didn't have to come, he said when he saw me. That's what family does. I sat beside his bed. Mom says you're refusing help from the trust. He looked away. I've made it this far on my own. 2 more months and I hit the 1-year mark. I'm not blowing it now. Tyler, this is exactly why the emergency provisions exist. He shook his head stubbornly. I've got enough saved. It'll be tight, but I can manage. I studied my brother, really looked at him, perhaps for the first time in years. The entitled man-child from the airport was gone. In his place was someone I barely recognized, determined, responsible, proud in a way that had nothing to do with ego. When did you grow up? I asked softly. He smiled wryly. Somewhere between having my credit card declined at a Hawaiian resort and learning how to actually read my own insurance policy, I reached for his hand. The trust can help without breaking the independence requirement. I know, but I don't want it to. He squeezed my fingers. I need to do this my way. And he did. Tyler managed his recovery, medical bills, and temporary work leave without a penny from the trust. When he returned to his job, they promoted him, impressed by how he'd handled himself. 1 year to the day after our dinner at Garden Grace, I invited them all back to my house. The same chef prepared an elegant meal. The same dining room sparkled with crystal and silver. But everything else had changed. After dessert, I handed each of them an envelope. What's this? Mom asked, turning it over in her hands. The trust fund details. You've all met the 1-year requirement. They opened the envelopes with trembling fingers, their eyes widening as they saw the figures. This is ... A lot more than I expected, Melissa whispered. It grew while you weren't looking, I said simply. Tyler stared at his paper, then at me. I'm not sure I need this anymore. Maybe not. But you've earned it. I raised my glass. To independence. To family. Mom countered, her eyes misty. The real kind. We clinked glasses, and for the first time in perhaps forever, it felt like we truly were a family, not bound by obligation or financial dependence, but by something stronger, something we'd had to lose everything to find. Later, as they were leaving, Mom lingered behind. I never properly apologized, she said quietly. For Hawaii. For everything before that. It's behind us now, she shook her head. Your father would be so proud of you. Not for the money, for this. She gestured between us. For having the courage to break the cycle. I felt tears sting my eyes. I learned from the best. He never gave up on any of us, neither did you. She hugged me, a real hug, mother to daughter. That's the true wealth in this family. After they left, I stood on my back patio, watching the city lights twinkle below. $47 million had changed my life, but not in the ways I'd expected. It hadn't bought happiness or solved all my problems. Instead, it had revealed truths I might have otherwise spent a lifetime avoiding. About myself, about my family, about what really matters. They'd left me standing at that airport gate, laughing as they boarded with their first-class upgrades. They couldn't have known they were giving me the most valuable thing of all, the chance to find my own way. Next summer, we're going to Hawaii. Together, we've already booked the tickets economy class, all paid for separately. We'll stay at a nice resort, but not an extravagant one. We'll share experiences instead of competing over them. And this time when the plane takes off, we'll all be on it. Sometimes winning the lottery isn't about the money at all. Sometimes it's about discovering what was always there, waiting for you to claim it. Your voice, your boundaries, your power, yourself.